Well, hello. So the first thing I want to do is talk about tarot and Chat GPT, the AI thing. I discovered today that Chat GPT is perfectly willing to do tarot readings and actually does them pretty darn well. So have a look. So here, I'm on ChatGPT. It's in the openai.com thing. So you just sign up. It's free, and you can use the ChatGPT and type in something. So I'm going to say to the artificial intelligence, give me a tarot reading using all the cards of the Tarot of Marseille deck. Give me a 3-card tarot reading using all the cards of the Tarot of Marseille deck. And I'm just going to press the button and lippity split. It says, performing a 3-card tarot reading using all the cards of the Tarot of Marseille deck can be quite extensive, as there are 78 cards in total. Providing interpretations for each card in this context would be too time-consuming and overwhelming. However, I can offer you a condensed version of a 3-card reading using the major arcana card. No. That's not what I asked for. Let's do it again. Interesting, because earlier today, see, it's very interesting. Earlier today, it did it with all the cards. Now it's refusing to. So let me use the same prompt I used earlier, which says, do a 3-card tarot reading using the entire Tarot of Marseille deck. Include the court and number cards. Understood, it says. I will perform a 3-card tarot reading using the entire Tarot of Marseille deck, including the court and number cards. Here are the 3 cards. So why, depending on my phrasing of my command, why does it refuse and then decide it's not so overwhelming after all, I'll just do it? At any rate, it says the first card, the past, the 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups represents nostalgia, innocence, and past experience. In the past, you may have had a period of reminiscing, reconnecting with your roots, or finding joy in simpler times. This card suggests that your past has played a significant role in shaping your present circumstances and emotions. Okay, now that's ChatGPT. I don't know if I would say that about the card. It represents nostalgia, innocence, and past experience. I'm not sure why it's getting that from the 6. The 6 to me, usually across the board in tarot, represents a good communication and sharing and openness. So, and sharing. So in the case of Cups, it would represent a mutual feeling and a sort of a sharing of really good feeling, a happy feeling in a group, and open harmony, a harmonized group, all functioning, great friendship, great good feeling and cheer, basically, is what the 6 represents. That could include reminiscing, It could mean, reconnecting with roots. Sure, absolutely. Finding joy in simpler times. I'm not sure where it's getting the focus on nostalgia. That strikes me as a little odd. So, but that's what it says. And then it goes into the second card, the present, which is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords embodies intellect, clarity, and independence. In the present moment, you may find yourself in a position of mental strength and analytical thinking. This card suggests that you are embracing rationality and making decisions based on logic and objective assessment. It encourages you to harness your inner wisdom and assertiveness to navigate the challenges at hand. Yeah, I think the Queen of Swords embodies intellect, clarity, and independence. Mental strength, analytical thinking, wisdom, your inner wisdom. Yeah, okay, so with the Queen, I think the focus starts to move into inner wisdom, but it also, and what the ChatGPT is leaving out, I think, is it tends to, the wisdom and the thinking tend to focus on what to do to nurture, to improve the situation at hand and to benefit everyone. Now, the third card, it says, the future, the Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Coins. The Knight of Pentacles represents practicality, reliability, and hard work, looking toward the future. This card signifies a period of steady progress and dedication to achieving your goals. It suggests that you will need to focus on the practical aspects of your endeavors, approaching them with patience and perseverance, and be thorough in your efforts. By embodying the Knight's qualities, you will be able to make steady advancement towards your desired outcomes. Yeah, well, again, ChatGPT isn't quite getting it. The Knight, yes, it could be, sure, practicality, reliability, except hard work, yes. But it also represents has a headstrong quality, a very forceful quality in how it goes out and takes action and no holds barred. So ChatGPT is being it gets a little milquetoasty in its readings. I just thought it was interesting that it could do it at all. One can go and get sort of a mild, slightly sterile sort of a reading, I suppose, from this thing. But there's something else I wanted to do. I wanted to look at a new spread. And it's a spread basically about trying to get over a hurdle, get past a problem. And so you start out with a card that represents the root fundamental issue. And then you have the hurdle up above it. And then you have three possible options for how you might want to take action to get past whatever this is. So we can look at that. Let's look at the main issue. Nine of Wands. All right. What we're focusing on now is we have enormous creative skill and accomplishment. We've done an incredible amount of work. And now we want to get through the finished product. We want to complete what it is we've been working so diligently on, putting so much of our heart and soul into. We have all of that energy. We just need to push a little bit more to get past our last remaining doubts and that feeling that you can get toward the end of a major endeavor where you feel like you've made a huge mistake. You don't actually know what you're doing. You screwed it up somewhere earlier back down the line, and somebody's going to see that you don't know what you're doing, and you're going to be embarrassed. And what the heck? I should just put this in a drawer and forget it. That's what we're dealing with, that final sort of moment of creative energy where doubt creeps in. But you've done so much, where you've put so much into this. You have so much behind you, and you have actually, there's so much there in front of you that you have. There's like a huge abundance of material, and you've done 4/5 of the work. You now just have to put the final piece together. And so we have a hurdle that we want to get past. And we're talking now, okay, so the hurdle here that shows up is the page of coins. Now, what this guy is, or this woman is a young, learning person who doesn't have it all figured out, has a lot to learn, has a long way to go in their journey. And our hurdle here is one of inexperience, but we have enthusiasm, but we're trying to get past our doubts about finishing something. And so, we have to just understand that the page always has a great attitude about their own inexperience and lack of knowledge. They want to keep going. They're full of energy. They may not know how to apply it correctly all the time, but it doesn't get them down. And so the hurdle to get over here is really not anything negative. It's simply one of inexperience. Now let's look at what the tarot 3 options it suggests. The first one, we're seeing another page, the page of the Heart of Cups. And that one is reversed. Now, possible course of action. So it could be that the page of Cups wants to explore their feelings, wants to explore and find out what feels best. They don't know yet. They haven't had enough experience. They don't know how to handle love yet. They don't even know quite how to define it, but they're looking, they're investigating. They keep opening up the cup and looking in. That's their nature, to explore and get things wrong and fall down and trip over their own feet, but they get back up and they keep going. And the reversal means try and recover that sense of enjoyment at discovering your own true feelings. Explore your feelings, let them out. Don't close them off. Don't detach yourself from them. That's one option that the tarot is giving us. In order to get past creative blocks, in order to learn what we don't know yet, sometimes we have to get in touch with what makes us happy, what it could mean relaxing a little bit and taking a little break, going out to dinner and doing something you really love to do. But you've got to get in touch with your feelings again and explore them for a while before you finish. It could be crucial to finishing something. If you're writing a novel, and you can't write the last chapter, explore your feelings about the characters, your love of your own characters. What would be, and then you'll know if you trust your love of the characters or you trust your love of what you've made so far, it will guide your hand into the resolution that you need to find for whatever it is you're building. That's one possible option. Let's look at another one here. We have another page, the Page of Swords of the Mind. This reading has 3 pages in it so far. So here's another suggestion. It's suggesting, okay, you need to learn something more. There's something you've forgotten maybe to get past your problems here. Your page here is dealing with the coins, the hurdle you have to get past. It's a very sort of a physical and it's a practical matter that may be holding you up, that you have to get past in order to finish your creative project down here. There's a practical matter, and you don't know how to resolve and juggle practical matters that may interfere with creative projects yet. So this option over here to explore your feelings and really, really, focus on what it is you love to do or what it is you love about your project. That's one option. Here, explore your what you need to know and have conversations with people, maybe people you're working with. Seek outside advice. Learn. That's what that is. If you've got negativity around you, resolve those conflicts with a positive outcome. And the card knows that you don't understand everything yet, but be the page, be the enthusiastic learner and figure it all out. Now let's look at the third option that it suggests, and that is the 5 of Pentacles. However, it's reversed. Now the 5 of Pentacles fits the suit of the hurdle, the Page of Pentacles, but the 5 is about handling the intruder, the new thing, the new element that pops in that you're not prepared for yet, the new inspiration that can be, at first it can be annoyingly, you're like, what the heck is this? Why is this popping up now? I can't do that. This project isn't going to accept that. And the card is reversed saying, beware of issues of a practical nature, of a sort of the practical aspects of getting your project finished, and allow yourself the time to investigate odd new ideas about how to solve these problems. It could be having to do with balancing work or family against the time you need to be alone to write your book. Anything that's sort of a practical nature, even financial. Where are you going to get the money to be able to afford to finish your little film that you're shooting with your friends? Where you need another $500 to buy video equipment or something. Where or am I going to get it? Be creative. Allow the unusual to enter your mind, and don't get, freaked out about things. Give everything its chance. These are suggestions the tarot is making, and I just thought I would investigate this. This is a new kind of a spread for me that I don't do. So it strikes me as possibly useful. I have a bowl of cherries here, and I'm telling you, they are so good. I think it's the time of the year. I think this is when cherries start coming into their own on the tree. So I have cherries in a bowl, And then I have cherry flavored sparkling water. What could possibly be better? Cherry this and cherry that. Man. Man. There should be more cherries in the oops, I just dropped one. There should be more cherries in the taro. You could do a fruit taro. It's all fruit. Like grapes instead of cups. I don't know. Misery. I see you. And Misery, guess what? You're picked. You are the next on the ladder of the queue. You come up with a subject while I eat my cherries and let me know. And then we will hit the deck of cards. I'm going to pick them up now and start shuffling. I like to shuffle the deck quite a bit. Higher self message. Higher self, it takes us into a sort of spiritual realm. The higher self has a lot to do with the number 7 in tarot. Anything that sort of starts lifting us to give us a little bit more connection with a more spiritual angle on things, takes us a little out and above ourselves and gives us a wider view. It's like getting up a little bit, going up the hill a little so that you can see out over the trees to the ocean. And this is how I sort of usually think about higher self. Very keyed in with the number 7. Now, that doesn't mean the number 7 has to show up in a reading. We'll see that a message from the higher self is what we're going to sort of phrase this as. Give me a little comment, if you would, just sort of in general, in a very, very simple term, kind of what in this day, on this particular weekend, what's kind of the thing that's in your mind more than other things, would you say? How would you phrase that yourself? Uncertainty. Okay. I see. Okay, that makes a nice little picture. All right. I'm still shuffling. It's important to shuffle while engaging with the person and letting their question or subject matter sort of percolate through the mind. Now, I'm going to cut the deck a final time. I call this my mountain peak spread. The top card is the part of the mountain that is most visible. It becomes the focal point of the higher message, the higher self message. The cards on the bottom, on the left card here, represents a more unconscious message, a dream message. The card on the right represents a more open, in the light, conscious message from your higher self. Let's look at what the higher self primarily wants to consider in this moment. Eight of Swords reversed. Let's talk about swords first. Swords. Your thought process, your belief system, your conflicts. Uncertainty plays a very large role because uncertainty is all about trying to figure out what it is you need to be doing in general or about some specific thing. A lot of thoughts. Your mind starts to spin around in circles and repeat things over and over again when you're uncertain. You go to sleep, you're lying there for an hour and spinning your brain wheels in the mud over and over again. It kind of gets annoying because you're like, you want to relax. You want to resolve things so that you can just relax, but your mind won't let you. The 8 is this interesting number that represents something really, really sort of ephemeral and hard to achieve. It represents a balance, but also an infinite possibility. It represents a lot of achievement. There's a lot of reward possible here. And your efforts are being rewarded, but the effort has to be maintained. It has to continue because you're keeping things in a balance. It's almost like you're balancing the practical and earthly with the more spiritual, and you're holding those and spinning them above you in a circle, more or less. And that's what the 8 is. It's like it's a magical sort of a balance with enormous possibility that you aren't even aware of yet. It also represents that things can change because of all this that's happening. They're getting ready to go somewhere for you. It's reversed, so that indicates, yes, there's some uncertainty here, and the uncertainty is affecting your thoughts. And it's creating maybe some fatigue. And so the effort to keep this balance it's just not quite there. Okay, so that is the higher self is saying, yes, this is draining. It's creating an imbalance in how you're thinking. And, something's going to have to change. Okay, so the higher self is aware of this problem, and it's making this problem something very open and in the light because it's up here at top. It's up here where the snow caps are on the mountain, up in the sunshine, and it's very, very visible from a long way away. So that's why I like this top card. Okay, so it's the higher self saying, I understand the problem. I understand that it's creating this round and around negative thinking and difficulty, and you can't think your way out of this bag or this room. Okay, now let's look at an unconscious little hint here. What do you have that pops up? This is a huge, huge card. This is the world card, and it's right side up, and it's a major card. Now, what the higher self is also telling you with this central problematic card is that it's not very severe because it's just a number card. Number cards, they come in and out, and your negativity, your higher self is saying, I'm only showing you a number card about that because this is so solvable, it's ridiculous. Okay? I'm aware of the problem. I'm aware of your mind doing things and playing tricks on you, but it's just not that big a deal. Otherwise, I'd give you a bigger card. But I am going to give you a bigger card down here in your unconscious, which is making suggestions to you about how to resolve this. And the suggestion the unconscious is making is one of joy and finding yourself and dancing with the whole joy of just being there, of just being yourself. The World card is all about being nothing more than you. You're not being one damn thing for any other one damn person. You are totally engaged in being you. That's what the unconscious is saying. Hey, remember, don't do anything because somebody else says you should do it. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't force yourself to be something you think you're supposed to be. Be the actual me. The higher self is pointing at you saying, be the actual person here. What it is you actually are. And that will create wholeness for you. And it will have an enormous effect, and it will completely obliterate the problem represented by this peak card. Now, on the right, we have another suggestion from your higher self, which is very conscious. Well, look what pops up here. The 10 of Cups, the heart. Okay. So what's happening here? The 10 represents reaching the goal and finding that it just totally opens up and bursts your full heart, like wide open with you just find what you love and you just are, it's celebratory. It's the idea of getting there across that finish line and you're jumping up and down. Yeah, you're tired because the next second you collapse on your back, but you're still waving at the crowd. You know how runners do that. They're still oh, I did it, but they can't get up anymore. That's what the 10 is. And the 10 is doing this for you in the realm of your feelings, your heart. And so your higher self is pointing at your unconscious, saying, be just you. Just do it for you, not for someone else, something that you read or something you think you're supposed to be to satisfy someone wherever. Just you. And keep in mind what it is you love, what it is that makes you just feel good. Keep that in mind consciously as a goal. And the card is suggesting you're going to get there because that's a big, huge 10. That 10 means you get there. This is higher self giving you encouragement to get past what it actually considers a relatively minor problem with your conscious mind spinning around and in doubt and uncertainty. It considers it a rather minor problem. But what it's saying is the solutions, the suggestions are huge, and they will just blow this away, and they will lead to way more reward and way more enjoyment of life here on the right with the 10 of Cups, way more enjoyment than you are even considering as a possibility right now. So that's something to keep in mind. That is a higher self who totally knows that you are dealing with an issue and it's saying, hey, it's not that bad, actually. And the rewards of doing these few things and being your actual true self and remembering to follow exactly what your heart tells you love to do or you love to be, it's going to pay off big time. You don't get the 10 of Cups unless the message is you're going to feel really, really great about what it is you're doing. Just be yourself. I hope that Llama, I see you there. I hope that gives you a little something. Misery. I hope that. You're very welcome. We all creative people who do different kinds of work. At every phase in life, we all have these uncertainties and get into these little round and around thought things, and we have to find a little sort of kick in the pants to get us kind of moving out, get out of that circular thing, you know. Oh, Lama, yeah. The higher self. You want to do a message from the higher self? Because I actually thought that was pretty cool too. I thought that Misery had a really great idea there. The message from the higher self. I actually don't usually do that. Oh, excellent, Misery. That's really good. But as soon as Misery said that about higher self, I was like, oh, that's actually, I mean, that's kind of brilliant, actually. You know, message from the higher self. That kind of says it all. It's like a really good, you know, I think I'm gonna actually refine the higher self thing and like maybe like do an even more I'll come up with a spread Misery that actually makes it even more like a message sort of idea, a message, a communication from the higher self. I think there's like could be an interesting shape in this card layout to sort of get that idea even more powerful. And Llama, I'm shuffling now for you, and we're going to do a higher self message. I read the other day that the word pajamas, I believe, comes from the Hindi language. I thought that was like an odd thing I noticed in an article. It said, you know, English words that come from other languages, and they use pajamas as an example. All right, now I'm almost done shuffling. Now I'm going to do one more cut of the deck. All right. The card in the middle is the mountain peak of the message. It's the most visible central aspect of the message the higher self is trying to give you. Ace of Swords pops up. The higher self is saying, let's talk about thoughts. Let's talk about intelligence. Let's talk about knowing what the heck we're going to do and how to do it. And it's reminding you for some reason, and I don't know what that reason is because we're going on very little here other than you want a message from the higher self. Now, what that message is pertaining to exactly is up to you, because I'm just telling you what the higher self cards are suggesting. And it's the higher self is for some reason, in your case, focusing on the mind, on belief, and on how you communicate. And it's reminding you that your power here is enormous and that you have all of this ability and it's inherent in you and it's building and it's going to seek expression soon. Irisika. It's going to seek a form of expression, and it's crucial, your higher self says to you, that you pay attention to it and you follow its momentum. You follow the direction it points you in. What direction is your intelligence? What are your thoughts sort of gravitating toward at this moment? Now, where are your thoughts pointing you this weekend? Your higher self is very interested in this, and it wants you to know that you have enormous reserves of intellect and communication abilities, and you are being prompted to follow and allow this buildup to continue until the moment it needs to express itself concretely. Now, the left is an unconscious suggestion. We have the Page of Swords showing up. So what's happening here unconsciously is your higher self is acknowledging that you may feel some doubts about your abilities to use your mind, to use your knowledge, to use your skills, to figure these things out, to solve critical problems, to communicate them adequately. Your higher self is saying, yeah, I know you feel some doubt. You feel a little bit unprepared. Pages are always a bit unprepared. They're new, but they maintain their enthusiasm. So the higher self is saying there might be something that makes you nervous about using this incredible power you have. You may feel you're a bit too young or you're a bit too inexperienced in some way, but the higher self is saying this is so strong here that it's going to carry you through like a sail carries a boat through a storm. Your higher self is very confident in your ability. And so it's saying, yes, these unconscious worries, yeah, okay, but they are worries that are natural for someone who is doing something perhaps they're relatively new to. Now, over here, the higher self is suggesting you keep something in mind. And here we have a reversal. Again, we have this. I can't even read it. It's too dark in here. I have to get more light. We have a 9. We have a 9 of swords. And so the swords come up yet again. Look at this reading. It's 3 swords. It's all about your mind, your thinking processes, the way you solve things, the way you analyze things. And now the higher self says, okay, the 9 is you get through, you finish, you have an incredible amount of work you're putting in, and you need to really just, in spite of your fatigue, in spite of exhaustion and being overwhelmed with doubts, just put that last effort in, that persevering refusal to give up. You're riding a bike up a steep mountain. You just want to get over the top so that you can go down the other side. Right at the last little bit, you're convinced you're going to just collapse, and you just somehow find that last little bit. That's what that card is. And it's saying, look, keep in mind that you can do this. Don't give up at the end. It's saying that there may be a tendency here. You may have had in the past a tendency to give up when it got really hard and you got big doubts right near the end, and then you decided you didn't want to take the risk of trying to finish, and you may have put it aside. And your higher self is trying to sort of boost you a bit and say, look, remember this power. Remember this power. It's going to get you through your doubts of inexperience, and it's going to get you through what may have hindered you in the past when you got really exhausted with things and felt you couldn't actually finish. You couldn't get across the finish line. The higher self wants you to keep this higher message in mind, that you have these incredible reserves, a vast reservoir that is not going to put up with you giving up. That's the basic idea. Hello, Jing. My higher self is simply not going to put up with giving up. Risika, you're picked for next. You're next in line. So, yeah. That, thank you. It's cool. I know. All swords. So something mental. It's something mental. To just remember that's sort of where the higher self, for some reason in this moment, decided to focus on it. It really focused on it. Now, Risika, you just pick a subject, and I'm going to start my shuffling of the cards. You're very welcome, Lama. So, Risika, anything you want. The Lama just asked for a message from the higher self, and I really like that whole concept of the message from the higher self. It kind of has a mysterious quality to it, and it's really something the tarot wants to do. You know, it's a very interesting concept. So I'm shuffling maniacally. Oh, okay. I'm gonna let's do the message from the higher self, which can be considered a general. You know, it's whatever your higher self kind of would like for you to sort of ponder at this particular time out of your life, this little moment where you stumble upon this kook, giving tarot readings, and your higher self message comes out. And let's see what it says. I'm going to do the mountain peak spread. It's just a very simple one. And one card on top as the peak where the snow gathers. And then we have on the left a unconscious part of you that is foundational to this message. And then on the right, a very conscious aspect to keep in front of you visible. And the higher self is initially focusing on the 10 of coins. Okay, 10 coins. We've got earth. We've got what it is you need. Your higher self is now looking at the things you need. It's looking at the physical part of your life. And it's talking about a complete abundance, an ability to gather all that you need and make yourself satisfied and feeling safe and feeling accomplished. It's basically talking about getting to that feeling of incredible accomplishment. Okay, this is the 10 of coins. It's got everything to do with money and everything to do with your living situation and your health, the body, the physical earth part of being alive. And the higher self is pointing back and saying, let's get down to brass tacks here and talk about the things you need, job, everything that supports you in life, makes you feel like you're safe, protected. The 10 means you have achieved something, and prepare yourself now to use that to move to the next thing you would like to accomplish. It's the beginning of a cycle at the end of a cycle. So the higher self wants you looking at practical matters right now, earthy, real things. On the unconscious level, it says, okay, we've got the Queen of Cups. She's reversed. Now the Queen, and this is more of a stronger sort of personality. This is a little bit longer lasting. This is a number card. So your higher self isn't too concerned. It's basically saying these physical, practical matters are changeable. They don't, the situation goes in and out daily sometimes. So it's not saying this is a heavy matter. Okay, it just wants you to be aware of some practical thing. The Queen of Cups reversed, she is able to know herself. She knows her heart. She's able to express her feelings in a way that is helpful. She has a calm strength about her. She has authority. She knows herself. She can convince people to go along with what it is she wants to do. But she does it always in this kind of an understanding way. She has a gentleness about her. She doesn't need to raise her voice. Now, what the higher self is saying is, this is in you. This is an unconscious aspect of you that you may have been ignoring to some extent. You may not have been particularly in touch with your feelings recently. And the higher self wants to remind you that this is something to change, to make sure that you are in touch with what it is you love, what makes you feel good, what stresses you out. Be able to identify the things that make you feel a certain way. Very, very important message. Okay, so the higher self is basically saying this understanding will in some way affect your success with these practical, life-sustaining, work-related matters. Now, on the more conscious side, we have the Wheel of Fortune, a major arcana card. It is reversed. Yes, it is reversed. And it is saying things change. They don't just change usually of their own accord. They change because we do things that make them change. There's karma. The Wheel of Fortune is attached to karma. It is attached to effort. And it's reversed. So what it's saying is the higher self is recognizing there may have been some stagnation. There may have been some obstacle, and you haven't been able to overcome something. You haven't been able to get past one thing that's happened in your life and get through it to the next thing. So the higher self is saying primary issue here is a very practical, physical issue. It involves anything to do with money, the body, sustenance, work, security of home, the feeling of being safe and protected. And for some reason, the foundations, unconscious and conscious, the higher self is saying, look, don't allow yourself to be detached from your feelings just because you're dealing with practical matters. And remember that a change of situation, moving to the next phase of your life, requires effort. And you're going to have to be in touch with your feelings in order to make that effort that's needed. Jing, I see you. And Jing, you are up next. So Arisika, it's like, ouch. You're very welcome. Yeah, the higher self, all I can say is that you just have to deliver the message that the cards give as clearly as you know how. And then it will sit with you, and hopefully it'll do its thing. It'll sort of heat up the tea and percolate a little bit, and you may realize something in the next couple of days about what you might need to do to whatever it is you happen to be dealing with. Okay, Jing. Yes, a general. Absolutely. And that's sort of what we've been doing. We've been doing the last few readings, we've been doing messages from the higher self, which is an awesome concept. You're welcome, Jing. Absolutely. And the idea, the general, is a little different than message from the higher self. So what I'll do for the general is I will do the 3-card, and we'll go back to the classic idea with that of the past, something sort of receding, present, and future, and see what's going on. I've got the cards here. I'm going to cut them. We've got in our past, position, 6 of Cups. Now, I don't know if you know what 6 is, but the 6 is joy. The 6 is something that has allowed you to feel a sense of fulfillment that you have been willing to share. You've experienced something with others, and it has sort of an element of, the dance, the music, the celebration, the party, the celebration of this feeling, the enjoyment of it, the easy back and forth between friends. That 6 of Cups is, a full heart, a good feeling. You can't really beat the 6. It represents beauty and harmony. And it's in the left hand position. So that is sort of something that you have had, and the cards want you to remember that feeling because it's they want you to remember how it felt at some point in the past. It wants you to keep it. Reacquaint yourself with that feeling. And then it leads us to the present, and you get the Star. Now, this is a major card. This is the idea that there is a force, and you can almost consider it a force equivalent to the higher self, but it is a force on a very spiritual level that guides you, that gives you incredible possibility, and makes you aware of the fact that this strength you have, your ability, your talents, can be used to lift the world, to make people feel better. You can share, and these people, it could be just your friends or someone you're in a relationship with. But the cards want you to remember a feeling that may have been rather short-lived, because it's a number card, that was full of joy and harmony and your heart overflowing. It felt really good at that time. Remember it. And in the present moment, attach yourself to that part of yourself that wants to share, that wants to bring your highest possible self, your highest skill, your best work. And it wants you to bring all of that, of your best self, and pour it into the lake that everyone can look at and see its beauty, and everybody can partake and enjoy in that lake. That's what the Star card is. It's generosity. Be your most generous, humble self that's able to take your best parts and apply them and bring them and share them with whomever it is that you think needs it. And it will do nothing but benefit you and everyone else. And the guidance of your higher self, represented by the Star, will always be there. The more you behave this way, the more in focus that guidance will be. The Star is a really great card, actually. Now, it continues here. 8. Okay, we're getting into the physical realm. And the 8 is this number of infinite balance, possibility, and change, all sort of spinning around. It's almost like a brilliant juggler is able to hold 8 balls seeming to float in the air over their head in a circle. And it represents your ability to apply all of your talents and work, all of your person to this endeavor and keep it going, and thereby create change and bring things to fruition. The 8 is a huge number of infinite possibility and balance, and the use, just like the star suggests in the present, the use of your ultimate highest self and sharing it, spreading the wealth, basically, bringing your words to people, bringing it out, sharing your best things. And it leads to this incredible abundance, because we're talking about the coins here in the future. The 8 of coins, incredible feeling of having made it and succeeded. That's what the 8 is. And it could be life-changing, okay? As long as you just keep going. That's the general. That's the reading of, remember how it felt when you had this feeling of great harmony. It might have something to do with guiding you to follow your highest self, the star. Maybe it, when I used to write poems, I felt my best. I remember having that 6 of Cups feeling where I was just overflowing and I was talking to everybody and it was so happy a time. And now that must be part of my higher self. Maybe if I go back and give that another shot or a chance or just do it a little bit here and there, I can share that with people and everything will be, and then, whoa, something's going to happen because of that. The reward is there for me. And there you have it. A general reading that has incredible possibility. It's up to you to find your higher self, and it's up to you to put that effort in and follow what makes you feel best. Because apparently you've done it before. Sometime in the past, there's been this feeling, your heart just bursting, and you felt everything felt perfect. So there you have something that could be inspirational. And I don't know what it is you do or want to do, but I don't really have to, because the cards speak. They say, they give you their suggestions, and they don't really need to know specifically what it is you may have done or want to do, but they give you suggestions nonetheless that you can always sort of refer back to. So, Jing, I hope that in some way gives you that little spark, the star spark, That star card, it's all about taking that spark and metamorphosizing it into the water of life that you pour out into the world, and the world celebrates that. It always does if you're doing something that you really love to do. Whenever you do something that makes you feel really good and you offer that, somehow there's a reward that the world returns back to you, one way or another. Yes, that was for you. The world, if you follow what it is you love and you put it out there, whatever it may be, if it's something creative, if you share it with whomever, that's up to you. But that sharing, that following your heart and doing what it is that you love, it always has a return. The world returns something to you. It may be a reward that's very financial. It may be a reward that's purely emotional. It may be a reward where you have new friends, but some reward comes back to you when you are open and you are following your heart and your true abilities and talents. It's very much part of being your true self, and that always brings a reward to you. The world, meaning the world, the universe, your whole life, there's a benefit that comes back to you. The reward is the card on the left, the cups that it wants you to remember that feeling. It's simply saying that feeling is something it wants you to sort of remember from some point, and it probably has some attachment to something you were doing that you felt really good doing, that seemed like something you could do where you'd be really happy. And it could be just that you were thinking about it or you were doing it, but some feeling you had in your heart, very positive. And the cards simply want to remind you of that and suggest that you put your attention on that. And that will influence how you sort of end up sparking that star card part of yourself. And then the reward that comes back to you from the world, from the circumstances of life, you will find those. I'm still shuffling the cards. You cannot shuffle tarot cards too much. And remember, shuffling tarot cards, 78 cards, creates an arrangement of those 78 cards that has never existed before. Well, how long have I been doing tarot? I consistently forget because I started and stopped and started and stopped and over a year. But I think I would say like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I got a tarot deck and got interested for about a day. And then put it down, and then wasn't interested, and then picked it up again a year later and got interested for maybe 3 days. Put it down, picked it up again a year later. You're welcome. You're absolutely very welcome, Jing. And then, picking it up and looking at it, and then I bought a book and I read it, and it was a book that sort of found religious ideas in the tarot, and it was very well written. I'm not particularly religious, but I was interested in it anyway, and just read the whole darn thing. And then I bought another tarot book, and then another one, and I just wanted to know more for some reason, and just kept going. And it's just anyone can do that, and you just read cards for yourself. You just spread them out on a table and you get the book that you bought about tarot that you are so fascinated with, and you just use that and you pay attention to it, and you just start reading the cards one way and up and down, left and right, and eventually you kind of feel more confident and you start reading for a family member or a good friend, and they kind of, if they have a positive reaction, you just try it a little bit more, and you slowly get more and more comfortable with the ideas in the cards, and you start to sort of let them come to life, when you do readings. Good. You should definitely get your deck. And, I would suggest you don't need to, a lot of people give the standard advice. They will say, go get the Rider-Waite deck, American deck from 1909 that everybody seems to use. That's actually not the greatest advice. Get the deck, look at decks, and get a deck that you just think looks really cool. Whatever deck pops in your eye, get that one. And then look at what type of deck it is. It'll say somewhere on the box. And get a book that corresponds to that. Get a cheap book. Spend $8 on a book on Amazon. And just sit there with your deck and read the book. Just don't force yourself. Just read one chapter, and do small readings. Don't try to do a big spread reading right away. Just do small. Don't do anything more than 3 cards. In fact, just pick 1 card out of the deck and just look at what the book says about that card, and look at and see how you feel about it. And then try and just close the book and pull that, and then make up your own way of expressing that card. And you will find, if you keep doing that, and you can do that really easily, but each morning when you get up before you go out for the day, just pull 1 card at random out of the deck and look at it and think about what that card is. And if you don't know, then just look in your book and it'll tell you what that card is basically about. And then just go, oh, okay. And just think about that card that day. And eventually you'll just have a nice overall understanding of the deck if you do that each morning. Very, very, very simple. You don't have to push yourself. You don't have to know how it all works. You don't have to figure it all out right away. Hi, Sita. How are you? I see you there. Just take it slow, and you'll get it, and you'll be able to do readings. Sita, what I've been doing is I've been doing readings, and welcome. It's your first time. I've been doing readings like and questions don't have to be specific. Like a few folks wanted to get messages from their higher self, which is really awesome. So I did a little message from the higher self, and then the last reading I just did was a general, just sort of what the cards are suggesting that you kind of think about. Oh, yeah, oracle decks. I have an oracle deck that somebody gave me for my birthday, and they thought it was a tarot deck. And so when I opened up the present, they were like, "It's a tarot deck," and I was like, "Oh yeah," but I knew it wasn't. I knew it was different, and that's called an oracle deck. And oracle decks, it's a fuzzy thing, because sometimes people will tell you that if you do a tarot deck that's not almost exactly like the Rider-Waite deck that you're doing an Oracle deck, and I totally don't think that's true at all, because the Tarot Marseille is much older than the Rider-Waite, and it is definitely a tarot deck. If anything, the Rider-Waite would be an Oracle deck, and the Tarot de Marseille would be the actual tarot. But people get real picky about these things, and they have their own little positions and whatever. But an Oracle deck, I guess, is just a deck that departs in a significant way from how tarot decks are usually structured. And the tarot, look, an Oracle deck is great. It just depends on whether or not you like that deck. Do you like the pictures on that Oracle deck or not? Do they inspire you? If they don't, then you're going to use a different one. But yeah, Oracle decks are great. Seed Athena, you think you might get a deck? You channel spirit and get direct messages from spirit. Look, if you're in touch with yourself, not everyone even needs tarot. Tarot is one of those things where if you enjoy it, it's just like going to a toy store when you're a kid. Which toy gets your attention? Which toy inspires you to play for hours on the floor, making stories up? Tarot is nothing different than that. That's totally, absolutely, to confirm what spirit tells you, that the way a person uses the tarot is very, very personal. Just as, every reader has a very personal approach to tarot. And whatever you make for yourself, however you write the story of tarot, that's the expression, that's the art that you make. You make the art of the tarot for yourself and how it talks to you. I'm eating cherries, by the way. I can't help myself. The cherries are so good. They're so good, man. You go to the grocery store and you buy a bag of cherries. Look at it. I mean, look at that. That is better than candy. Okay. If the question never hurts, that's a good thing, I'm guessing, right? The question shouldn't hurt. Oh, okay. All right. A general question about next lover. This is all about relationship. It's about passion, desire, all of those things. And tarot can speak in that realm. Let's see what the hints from the tarot happen to be this particular moment in universe time. Because when you're wondering, something has ended, I'm ready for the next thing, there's like so much potential in that feeling of what comes next. It's almost like you can miss that feeling all by itself when it, when it's not, when you actually find someone. Sometimes you're like, wow, that magical sort of thing where I didn't quite know what was going to happen next. That all by itself is an interesting part of life. All right, let's see what the cards have. One more cut. All right. I'm going to go with the Mountain Peak spread, which is a 3-card spread, and the middle card is just a little bit more pronounced than the others. It's the topmost concern. What do we have? Okay. 4 of Wands. However, it's reversed. 4 is sort of a feeling of security. Wands are the passion. Now, what this indicates is that the 4 has become a bit claustrophobic, a bit isolating. Rather than feeling safe and secure in the expression of your passion, your desire, you may be feeling a little isolated, a little closed off, a little not able to make a connection yet. Now, it's a number card, so what that means is this is not a big deal. This is not a massive problem that you've got to overcome. This is very temporary. This is something that could change by Monday. It's not critical. It's basically just the cards saying, yeah, okay, this is a thing that could be sort of in the forefront of your vision for now. Not a big problem. You might be a little detached, a little closed off. We're going to get past this. Now, on the left, there's sort of an unconscious suggestion. You get a big major arcana here. This is a big aspect of this whole thing, the next lover. The card is suggesting on an unconscious level, you're feeling a little isolated, okay? Perhaps a little disconnected from the possibility of a next lover, or, a little on your own, so to speak. Then here we get the Hermit, which basically reinforces that and says, yeah, and that's because that's what you need. You need to be alone with yourself for a while, because what you discover and learn about yourself when you're able to be alone with yourself for some time is absolutely gold. It's gold nuggets that you aren't even aware of how incredibly powerful being alone with yourself. It's a very meditative state. And what it leads to, because the Hermit has that lamp, they're holding a lamp, and that represents accessing and searching for the truth. There's something here where the cards are suggesting that you don't rush the process of the next lover, that you take time for yourself and you ponder, you meditate, you get comfortable with yourself. And then, on a very conscious level, guess who shows up? This is something that the cards are suggesting you keep in your mind consciously and think about each day. The Page of Cups. He's opened his heart. He's got the lid off the cup. He's looking in. He's really looking into his feelings. The page can be a she, a he, whatever. It makes no difference. It's the same idea. That idea of, I want to know more. I know I'm young. I know I don't have it all figured out. I know I've messed it up over and over again. But I'm able to be with myself, to learn more about myself, and I'm able to enjoy the process of really waiting until I know what my heart is telling me is right. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find that. I'm going to find love. Even though I'm all confused about it, this next lover could really throw me for a loop, because this page represents, I'm going to be flustered. I'm going to be confused. I'm not going to know what the hell I'm doing. I'm going to be saying the wrong thing. I'm going to be falling on my face over and over again. I'm not going to be able to handle it very well. It's going to be a little too much for me, but I don't care. The page just doesn't care. The page is like, so what? I know I'm young. I know I screw it up all the time. I'm still digging into that feeling. I'm still following my heart, come hell or high water. And that's crucial. But the cards kind of want you unconsciously to sort of let things settle in yourself and don't rush it. Don't go running out and try to force a relationship with someone that doesn't make you feel like exploring real feeling. There you have it. That's what the cards are kind of hinting at. You're welcome, Seed Athena. So pondering the idea of the message from the higher self as a reading concept. It could be like, there could be a card maybe at the top. And then there could be like cards sort of that the message has to cross over and get through to come down to your conscious mind. Maybe that's a good idea for a spread. Just sort of. I think I'll think about that for a while, and then I'll come up with a spread sometime this week and do a stream where I'm using it, a new spread, a new layout. I think my voice is getting a little tired. I'm probably going to wind it down, and then I'll do another one tomorrow. But I should probably rest my voice. I went to the gym just before doing this stream, so I'm probably you're like, and so I'm probably a little fatigued. But so if I get a little rest and then have a good breakfast tomorrow, maybe I'll do like a long stream tomorrow. See if I can stream for like 6 hours tomorrow. That might be kind of fun. This has been good though. Some good questions, and an idea popped up today for this message from the higher self spread that it has to be it has to be designed, and something I can do, a new thing for myself. All right, so I'll wrap it up for this evening, and it's been really fun, and I hope everybody has had a good time. And all right, the best to everyone, and keep on doing tarot. You have a wonderful night also. Good night.